Hello all. My name is Dylan Contreras, and my other partner, who's more working in the back, is Lily McLean. Hello all, and welcome to our project, Biodiversity Tomorrow, because today is almost over. We're going to be talking about the importance of biodiversity in our local ecosystems and what you can do to help. Lily, if you could change to the next slide. We have 4 sections today. First, we're going to explain what biodiversity is. Then we'll talk about what causes harm to our ecosystems. Next, we'll discuss the importance of this, and finally, what you can do to help it. A few quick definitions. Ecological niche: the role a species plays in our world, what it eats, where it lives, and how it interacts with its surroundings. Sustainability: the ability for a process to continue without collapsing. For example, ensuring that trees can grow back fully before resuming logging. Invasive species: an invasive species is a species that originated from afar. These invasives can outcompete the native species, blocking them from thriving. Ecosystem: an ecosystem is a community of organisms that occupy an area. What is biodiversity? Biodiversity is a measurement of how many unique species live in an ecosystem. Every species in a biological community serves a purpose inside of a niche. By having many different species, an ecosystem is stronger and all processes are filled. Every species, no matter how small, can have a major impact. A simple example is bees and flowers. The bee performs the duty of pollination and uses the pollen to create food. The flowers require these bees and other pollinators to reproduce. What harms biodiversity? The first way humans affect that biodiversity is through habitat destruction. We often collect more natural resources than we need, or pollute and destroy ecosystems. This means that less species are able to survive and populate the lands. Another important one is through invasive species. Humans often introduce non-native species such as mustard and the European starling. These species are able to outcompete native species, and hog resources. This pushes the diverse native species out and makes it difficult to survive. The next way is through direct human activity. Often, we unknowingly exploit our lands through excessive agriculture, irresponsible recreation, and by taking more than what we need. Again, we usually do this by accident, but every damage caused to species or its home can be dangerous. The final way we'll discuss is through climate change. As you know, our industries create natural gases, and the Earth is not used to this. This harms our natural cycles and causes average temperatures to increase. Without getting too far into this can change the natural habitats, it can force plants to adapt, even make our oceans more acidic. Why is this important? It may seem a bit extreme to want to protect every species on Earth. However, biodiversity is helpful for everyone. Firstly, biodiversity ensures sustainability. Each and every species presents fills a niche, and therefore helps the cycle. Some produce, some consume, and others decompose afterwards. Smaller organisms may not even be aware they are responsible for what they are doing, but what they're doing is making sure that our atmosphere is stable and that our plants can grow successfully. Losing any species makes an ecosystem vulnerable to disaster. When there isn't a diverse amount of species present, losing one single species becomes much more drastic. For example, if one producer is lost, it usually isn't a big deal as there are plenty of other producers present. However, if those are the only producers available, everything would collapse. Finally, many see the protection environment simply a human obligation. We all benefit from and appreciate nature in some way, and it's important to preserve it for later generations. What can you do? We're going to end our presentation by discussing what you can do. Everyone can help in small amounts, even starting in your garden. You can think about what you grow at home and make sure that it's beneficial. Often people plant grasses and decorative plants that are invasive. and that our local animals aren't able to feed on or use as shelter. It's also important to avoid monocultures. A lot of yards are planted with a single type of grass, which lacks diversity. Planting multiple types of plants is not only helpful, it looks great. If you want to take it a step further, you can look towards volunteer opportunities. It's not hard to find a local group that helps plant natives or remove invasives. Examples of invasives. This is a small collection of some invasives we have in San Diego. You'll often see these growing in parks or by highways, while some of them, such as mustard or ice plant, are rather beautiful. However, they push out the native species and create monocultures quickly. These are just a few examples of wonderful plants that you can use in your yard. These plants are beautiful and require less water. If you replace your yard with a few of these, the local animals will surely appreciate it. Thank you. That is all.
Thank you, Lily. Thank you, Dylan. We appreciate it. Thank you so much. We can freeze the screen right there as far as I want to keep the background, Dylan, or no, Lily, sorry. I want to keep the background. It's pretty. Great job, great job. Beautiful presentation, of course. Very eloquently put. Let's start looking at questions. And just so everybody knows, it'll make you happy that we are pretty close to our time frame now, right? So we've gotten up to about where we should be. What questions do you have about biodiversity? And let's look at it tomorrow, because today might be too late. Questions. I love how Australia keeps faking me out when I say questions. She's always like, yeah, maybe. I appreciate that. All right. So my question is, and I'm kind of biased because I don't have many that I don't really know, because we've kind of walked through this the whole year, because you're with our junior DT team. But I would just simply ask, what is the motivation behind you picking the project? Because from the beginning of the year, we've kind of been stuck in that subject, which means we're really passionate about that. So just tell us where your passions come from about the project.
Well, my partner, Lily, spent a lot of time in nature and working in local government organizations that like nature reserves. And she got to spend a lot of time working with them and understanding what their work is like and what they're doing for us and removing invasives.
Very good. So it's kind of a call to action for more people, you could say?
Yeah. It's important that we all participate.
Great job. Great job again. Appreciate it.